Former President Barack Obama brought the House down. This was one of the biggest speeches he has given thus far during the Trump regime.
My inauguration had more people. And that's demonstrable. I say that, by the way, not because, I don't care. We're also witnessing is that when the system is captured by those who, let's say, have a weak attachment to democracy.
What if the very fabric of American democracy is unraveling and the most powerful man in the world is cheering it on? Former President Barack Obama just made a shocking comparison between Trump's America and Hungary's Orban regime. Are we willing to let democracy wither? He asks. This speech might be the wake-up call we all need.
There is a weak commitment to what we understood, and not just my generation, at least since World War II, freedom of assembly and protest and compromise and pluralism, all those institutional norms. That wasn't a partisan view. That wasn't a Republican or a Democratic notion that shouldn't happen. That was an American value and norm.
Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Imagine Barack Obama stepping onto a stage and calling out the United States for creeping closer to looking like Viktor Orban's Hungary. This wasn't some casual critique. It was a full-on warning, with Obama effectively saying, "Wake up, America. This isn't who we're supposed to be."
So what I believe it continues to be that there has to be responses and pushback from civil society in both parties who say, well, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. And people throughout the government who take an oath to uphold the Constitution. It requires them to take that oath seriously.
Hungary under Orban is a place where democracy exists in name, but not in practice. According to Obama, America is wandering down a similar path, and the way back might not be as easy as we think. The idea isn't abstract either. Obama laid it out plainly. Trump's relentless attacks on institutions like the judiciary, the press, and even universities are the seeds of authoritarianism. How far are we willing to let this go? He asked, and it wasn't rhetorical. These are the same institutions democracy relies on to function. Chip away at them and the foundation crumbles. Just look at Hungary. What used to be a democracy now operates like a parody of one. Obama isn't being dramatic. He's holding up a mirror. And then there's the bigger problem, the flood of misinformation. Obama didn't mince words when he described a world where facts are contested constantly. He didn't point fingers without purpose either. He reminded us that the strategy of flooding the zone with lies.
We were in the middle of a huge global financial crisis. It had started on Wall Street, so understandably, other countries were annoyed about it. The Iraq War, just going around bullying other countries and telling them that we're better than you, which I thought was a bad strategy to get them to cooperate. It's the only big country on earth, and maybe the only real superpower in history. And this idea that we can somehow, despite all our differences,
tactic famously associated with autocratic leaders like Vladimir Putin, has now entered the American bloodstream. When facts become meaningless, Obama warned, people stop trusting anything at all. From there, democracy loses its grip and power fills the void. But for all the gloom, Obama didn't let the speech spiral into hopelessness. He reminded everyone that the real heroes of democracy aren't politicians, they're ordinary citizens. The most important office in a democracy is the citizen, he declared, throwing the responsibility back to the people. The message was clear. Democracy isn't saved from the top down, it's saved by individuals refusing to normalize destructive behaviors. Obama's energy wasn't just about critiquing, it was about motivating. Which brings us to Trump's so-called story of America. Obama sees that narrative as rooted in division and exclusion, and while it's dangerous, he believes it's not unchangeable. What if the real fight isn't just between Trump and Obama, but two clashing visions of America? Trump's version, or as Obama calls it, the bad story, sounds like something straight out of a dystopian novel, a nation built on hierarchy, exclusion, and fear. And it's not just an idea. Trump's policies and rhetoric have turned it into a living, breathing narrative. Targeting minorities, demonizing immigrants, and taking petty swipes at the press aren't just buzzworthy news moments, they're bricks in the wall of division. Not to mention his attempts to chip away at university freedoms, with threats aimed at schools for protecting student protesters. Obama dropped this zinger during his speech. I'm more deeply concerned with a federal government that threatens universities if they don't give up students who are exercising their right to free speech. If we're talking about textbook anti-democratic tactics, that quote could headline the chapter. But this bad story doesn't stop at policies. Trump rallies have been fertile ground for exclusionary rhetoric, with speakers making comments that Obama flat out called bigoted. And it's not just offensive, it's dangerous. Because when the people in power undermine the idea that everyone's equal, you don't just lose respect for each other, you lose democracy altogether. According to Obama, that's the deeper threat. This isn't just about hurt feelings, it's about our basic social contract falling apart. Obama, on the other hand, isn't telling a story of perfection. His better story of America doesn't involve unicorns and rainbows, but it is rooted in something way more ambitious: inclusion. It's the belief that America's strength lies in its extraordinary diversity and the democratic values designed to keep it working. The crazy experiment isn't perfect, but it's worth fighting for, Obama reminded us. Unlike Trump's hierarchy-driven vision, Obama's story is about everyone having a seat at the table, no matter where you come from or who you are. But here's the catch. This better story isn't inevitable. If the bad story goes unchecked, America risks rewriting its future for the worse. So the question is, who decides which version wins? The real fight isn't just against Trump, it's against letting fear, division, and flat-out lies become the new normal. Obama nailed it when he asked, do we allow our democracy to wither, or do we make it better? Ignoring these issues only makes them worse. It's not a subtle warning, it's a flashing red light. But here's the thing, it's not hopeless. Obama made it clear that if we step up, the crazy experiment called democracy can survive. So the real question isn't whether America can recover, it's whether we're brave enough to write a better story ourselves. Are you?